Welcome, Mary Ellen. I think she's just logging in, connecting.
Yep.
Hi,
If you're talking about me, I'm here.
I'm saying welcome. This is
Thank
the lady
you.
I mentioned to you,
Oh,
Tom,
okay, good, great,
who's
great.
interested in software.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's
All right.
funny because I think I know Tom, or know of him from
Oh.
Dan Hubing's classes.
From whose?
Dan Hubing at the
Oh, yeah. Oh, of
Inten
course.
user. Yeah. Yeah, I thought I recognized your face.
Yeah, the
After-
computer class.
Yeah, after Laura,
Or Windows computer.
right. After Laura,
Steve here does the same.
Steve what?
Steve does the same thing for Apple.
Oh, okay.
But he has it on the Thursday, the following day.
All righty. I knew there was an Apple guy, but I wasn't sure who it was.
Is that
Not a
at
very
the
good one,
ADRC?
but not a very good one. He's an Apple guy, yeah. No, we haven't done any classes, just it's very difficult to do through virtual.
Yeah.
Because you have so many levels of beginners, and it's got to be hands-on where you can actually show them. And
Well,
it's hard
I think we're gonna try a Zoom on the 7th of October. Do you remember that, Tom? Did you get an email from Dan?
Tom's lost here.
Tom has some connection trouble on and off.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
we're gonna try it.
Laura, do you want me to send that registration URL to Tom? I don't know if I have your email. I might have it somewhere.
Sure. Or what is the what is it? How
It's a
did you
big,
find
long, big long thing.
it? Okay. All right, go ahead and send it, and I'll post it maybe somewhere.
You can look, I'll either do it now or I'll do it a little later. Okay.
Here is Karen. So if we
We
only
lost Tom.
can get Tom back again. Hi, Karen.
Hello there.
So Tom was going to talk to us today about some things, so we're hoping he'll come back. He had some connection problems,
Okay.
but I see it's about 2 o'clock, so I wanted to mention a few things before he gets back. I'm assuming he'll log back in shortly. I don't know if you remember, we had Tom Ramstack visit us. He wrote the book, he's in Milwaukee, and he wrote the book about looking into your immigrant ancestors' eyes.
Yes.
And it's a whole bunch of people's family members from southeastern Wisconsin. And he's agreed to do a program here in October, and I hope you'll all come. Let me show you on the calendar, since I'm getting better at this screen sharing thing. Do you see that? You see our library calendar?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. He will be here October 14th. So that's the program that will be coming up, that he's going to talk about Wisconsin immigrants to southeastern Wisconsin. And then I want to show you something else that I just put up today. Since Tom wanted to talk about Facebook groups, about genealogy Facebook groups, I found a link and he approved of it, and it's really incredible. So I put it up here on the link to this page here on our genealogy calendar page. And here it is. It's gigantic. It's over 400 pages of Facebook groups. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I belong to a lot of them.
Well, this is just unbelievable list, and it was put out in August of 2020. So I think that it's fairly current, and you see they break them down by state and countries, and then they start describing them. So as I said, this is over 400 pages, so you don't want to print it out, but I put it up there on our library, the calendar page, so you can find it there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. The same place where you would find the link to enter the program. So here we have Gretchen coming. I wonder what happened to Tom.
Well, Laura, one thing I'd like to talk about today, if we can, and hopefully somebody has some ideas, is that Ancestry just updated their DNA significantly. And
Oh,
I
it's
saw that.
probably more confusing than it is helpful at times.
Well, what is your impression of it? I know a friend of mine said, look, I have so many more categories in my DNA, but I looked at mine and it was the same as ever. So I'm
Oh,
not sure.
we probably got 4 or 5-fold.
really?
Are
And
you
I haven't
kidding?
looked at mine either.
what happened, or when we first did ours a few years ago, I contacted them, whoever the people were at Ancestry that did the DNA, and said, what's this really mean, and how far back are you going with the tracing of DNA? And at that time, they told me it was maybe 300 or 400 years.
Mhm.
Now, when you look at this DNA we just got and you start to read the history that they were talking about, they were getting back into the 8th century and the 3rd centuries and so forth. So
Really?
is it getting to be too cumbersome and not meaningful anymore? Or is it something we need to learn more about so we understand how meaningful it can be? I don't know the answer to that one.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm just confused.
I thought they just did the autosomal DNA, which only goes back about 5 generations, something like that. You know, I mean, because by the time you get back several generations, there's hardly any match left.
Well, we found that the circles that they create were magnified significantly into many, many smaller bipieces of the same area, but it was really kind of hard to follow, and I don't think at the end of the day it changed a whole lot of things, but how you look at it, and part of it had to do, as I understand it, because of the Vikings and their constant roaming the country, the world side, I guess. Doing whatever they did to populate.
It's giving you your ancestry, but as far as the cousin matches, you're still only going back 8 generations at most.
Right, and I wasn't looking at the cousin. I mean,
Right.
they gave me a couple of cousin
I just wanted to make
matches.
sure Gretchen understood what you were which way you were talking about.
Okay.
For those who just entered, Steve brought up the changes at Ancestry DNA, and we're discussing that right now.
Okay.
I don't know if any more insight into, Tom, you've done a little more research than most have done on DNA, but I just was kind of confused. My wife, especially, because she's kind of a mongrel when you start to look at all the pieces of the puzzle. But I think it had a lot to do with the Vikings running around. These guys were prolific peers. So
Yeah. So
Mine
that
hardly changed.
caused.
So.
Yeah, mine did. I haven't looked. I guess I should look.
I haven't
What they're
looked.
talking about
online.
online is that a lot of people are ending up with Scottish ancestry where it didn't show up before.
And
But
Norwegian.
Not just that.
that's the Norwegian and Siberian now we got.
Well, my friend has an ancestor from South America, and she used to have just like South America. Now it's got specific tribes and regions. So it's
right.
Much
And the
more
other thing
detailed,
they've done, the other thing it looks like they've done is they've brought that. Well, so you can settled where those particular immigrants all settled, or those ancestors settled in the U.S. Now that seemed to be pretty accurate based on what research we've done in our trees, but that changed some things and a lot of overlapping there. But it was just kind of, I don't know if anybody else had spent any time looking at it.
No, I'm going to have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at it too. I haven't looked at it lately, not since they made the changes anyway.
Well, they just sent us, I just got an email the other day, a couple of days.
Yeah, last couple of days. I haven't looked at it that soon. Sorry, I was gone for a while. All of a sudden my computer went, or my iPad went off. I had to reboot it. But so far so good.
All right.
Well, also Ancestry, when I looked at it today, actually had a pop-up saying, try this new story, something or other. Did anyone see that? And
Yes.
It's pretty
I tried it briefly, and it's pretty clunky. It says to name one of your grandparents. So I named my grandfather, and then it's talking about World War I and how he registered in Brown. It did not say Brown County. So it just kept saying Brown. And then it tries to tell you things, but it has, it's obviously feeding drawing the information from things and it's incomplete. So it sounds a little silly in my
It
opinion.
is. There, a lot of people are talking about why even have it. It's just
Yeah.
pulling information, that you have in your timeline,
Yeah.
but it's not giving you any additional information.
No.
It might tell you what was going on in that area where your ancestor lived at the time, so maybe you can kind of get a gist of, what their lives were outside of, dates and of children and things. They've got some political things, but it's not giving you any additional information, I feel, if you know anything about your history.
Yeah.
Somewhat generic.
It's trying
It's
to
very
give you
generic, and
context.
it's not specific to,
Yeah.
it's not going to tell you what was going on, in Door County, in the 1800s. It's going to tell you nationally what was going
Right,
on.
or worldwide if there was world wars, yeah.
Well, like
Mhm.
with this World War I thing, it was telling about how he registered, and then the men had to sign up, and how many % of those who signed up were sent. And it's giving you basic context in a sense, but it doesn't necessarily apply to him specifically. So,
Right.
as you
Right.
said, and also the way it draws in like Brown, instead of saying he signed up in Brown County, makes it sound a little weak, incomplete. It's not ready for,
Prime time.
yeah, exactly. Not ready for prime time yet.
Yeah,
And
I thought that they were kind of simplistic, elementary.
Yeah. So anyway, that's another thing that they're doing. They're always working on something new so they can attract people, right?
Right.
Probably, right.
So should we do a quick round, Tom, and see what people are up to, or do you want to go into your
Sure.
background?
Sounds good. No, I think we haven't done that for a while, so I think it'd be good.
And we have a new
Yeah.
person
You
here,
want me
so
to-
yeah.
Yes, we do. We have Mary Ellen. Lately I was working on my Nicholas Weisensell, who, came over from Germany in 1854, and I'd reached the point where I was trying to confirm, exactly, or some difference of opinion, on who the names of his parents were. And so I was trying to find that out for certain, just to prove it, so I get some direct information. So I had sent an email to the Würzburg, Germany State Archives, and I got a response back from them saying that they specifically do not do research in their archives. Their archives are set up for people to go there and do research. And then they gave me some names of people that I could hire to go over there, that are local people who could go and do the research. So, it was a mixed thing. And
Yeah.
then I also sent, since
Maybe there might be volunteers on looking at those Facebook groups of that particular state.
that's right. Very good point. Very good point. I will check that out. And I had also sent an email to the Sun Prairie, where he lived, historical museum, and that to see if they had any of the papers from the woman who did a very extensive Weisensell family research in the early 1970s. And they came back to me and said that they did not have anything. And I also sent an inquiry to Laurie Bressler, I believe her name is, with the Historical Society, Madison and Library, and sent me some instructions and a how-to on how to research their records, which I did not have, okay? And it was much easier to follow than some of the other things I've seen from them. And I did do a little bit of research, and they, at least as far as deep as I went, they had the same information I have. So, so far I got it struck out. So on to the next thing. And so that's what I've been working on, plus trying to go through all the family pictures and, 50 years worth of family pictures and try to pick out the ones that we want to keep and then digitize those and the rest, throw the rest away. So that's a full-time job. It might take me a year to do that, come to think of it. So that's all I got.
Okay, who's next?
Okay, can I throw something in?
Sure.
Go for it.
Take care.
All right. At the risk of embarrassing myself,
Never.
I am still on paper with files on my computer. I've created spreadsheets and so on and so forth and filed everything under surname, blah, blah. However, I've been dragging my feet on purchasing a program. I'm at the point where I think I need to corral this stuff. So I did join a lot of genealogy groups, eliminated some of them that were kind of worthless, and some of the ones that were very good and active, solicited people's opinion other than them always saying, well, I'm a legacy, or I'm a RM, or I'm a FTM person. I wanted to kind of weed through that a little bit. So I kind of went and did some research online and then went back with more specific questions. But I found that all of the groups I belong to, whichever program they're using, they're all into the technological aspect of it.
Oh,
And they're a little too anal, frankly, in my opinion. I need to start somewhere, but I don't want to get into too much of the outside noise of it. I just want a simple listing of my people with some generalities and add some information. I don't want to get into the merging and the duplication and the guy who had 3 wives and who, how do I get myself out of this program? There's so much technology within the program that I sometimes think they're kind of overdoing it. I don't know where to start. That's where I'm frustrated. That's what I've been trying to do, is trying to figure out a simple one. I think I realize that whatever program I purchase, I don't have to do all the capacity that it offers.
that's right. Yeah. You can just
Absolutely.
start and do just a very basic thing in most of the programs. I use Roots Magic. Tom does too.
So do I.
And you just start typing in your basic information and you can go on and add more technical things later on. I think the important thing is that you put your sources in when you're typing your thing.
Yeah.
And for each piece of information, you need to put a source, because then when you go back, you can find out, oh, that's where I got that. I better get a better source than that or something, Okay. So you type in, and you basically have to type in the information once. You just have to follow the format. So it's important to know, how they set it up. For example, they often don't put the, if you're from, let's say Madison, which is Dane County, Wisconsin, you don't put the word county. You just put in Madison, comma, Dane, comma, Wisconsin, whatever it is. So it's really pretty simple to get the data in, and then you can fill it out however you want to later on.
So you do have enough. See, I'm more of a, I want to do it my way. Sometimes the computer is too user-friendly and I'm yelling at it saying, don't help me. I want to do it my way, kind of a thing. But the people on the Facebook groups get so hung up on the what is the word I'm even looking for? But the detailing of how they do things rather than just doing it. And so what I've done is drag my butt is what the whole thing is. And I just got to bite the bullet. I narrowed it down to Legacy or Roots Magic. But go ahead, whoever.
I think that's Tom.
Let me jump in just for a second then.
Just a couple comments.
I think what's magic,
Go ahead.
because
Yeah.
we have people in this group that
Mhm.
use it, would probably be, and I'm not trying to sell them one way or the other because they have their negatives.
because
as
you
much
could
as their
help me.
positives.
Yeah.
But we have support. Another thing that might work for you as well, I don't know if you follow Dick Eastman's piece,
I'm
but
sorry.
he does Dick Eastman, he's a genealogist that has a blog. He just put something out in the last week or so about how he uses note-taking apps like Evernote or Notes for Apple or what have you. And he says he used to be like what you're frustrated about, all the anal people out there that had to have 18,000 different segments of it, and then you could never find anything.
Right.
So what he said is that the way they're working it now, he says he just throws it all into one big pot. And then when he wants to find Joe Smith, he just types in Joe Smith and everything that's in that pot comes up, and then he can refine it to Joe Robert Smith, and then that'll refine it even finer. And then all of a sudden he's got all the documents he wants and he didn't have to go digging through anything.
What was his name? Eastman.
Eastman, Richard Eastman.
Okay.
And you can find him, just put a search on him, and he does, if you want to, you can subscribe. It's really cheap, I think.
But that's not a family tree, Steve, is it? That's not a family tree.
No, he's just saying that what
No,
he
no,
uses
that's not
it
family
for
tree.
is he uses
No, it's not any kind of family tree.
No, he uses like Ritz Magic or he uses a bunch of different ones, but he said when he gets a lot of information, rather than trying to find a place to put it in the tree right away or wants to do more homework on it before he puts it in his tree, he throws it into his note-taking folder, but doesn't get real anal on how he files things, because all you have to do is put a search word in there, and our computers are so good at it today.
See, I dump mine in everything I find. I just dump it into on the computer on my files. I have files for each person's surname, first name, whatever, and whoever it belongs to just gets all dumped in there. But I've got so much dumped in there. Plus, I have a lot of paper that I kind of dug things and wrote down from pre-computer days.
Welcome to genealogy.
I know. I love it. And I gotta tell you, I'm an organized person, but I love the research. I'm not organizing, Will. Yes, whoever called me.
And Tom, did you have something to say?
Mary?
Yep.
Hello, Mary? Yeah. Mary, I have two suggestions for you, okay? If you go to the internet and just put in Evernote for genealogy, okay? Evernote, one word, for genealogy. You will come up with the Evernote program and how to use that, I think, for exactly what you're talking about and what Steve is talking about, where you put everything into files and you tag everything as you're doing it with some word, like birth certificates or Germany or whatever you want, and multiple tags. And then you can go in and you can search on the whole database for all the information that Joe Smith's birthday, okay, or birth date, okay? And now that does not give you any tree information, pedigree charts, family group sheets, or anything like that, but it does give you a way of collecting all of that information into one place.
Well,
now you can do the same thing. You can do the same thing with Microsoft's OneNote. You can do
OneNote.
You can do the same thing with that, huh? What?
Yeah, OneNote.
OneNote.
I looked into both of those.
Do that too.
I have looked into both of those, but I have not been convinced. To me, it's a duplication. If I want something, I just search in the files I've already got set up, and it comes up. So
yeah, you can do it with you can do the same thing with Google Docs too.
Right.
That's what you there's no panacea that does everything.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
You just have to pick one and go with it. The important thing to remember is whatever one you start with, don't change.
Right. I know. I've heard that.
You have a big problem. Okay.
And,
yep.
Because you
Another
never
thing-
get back.
Another thing to remember is digital preservation. If you put it on a computer and your computer crashes and that's the only place you have it, you're in trouble.
That's right.
Although they can
That's
save
right.
things, but not always. So be sure you back it up
You know,
somewhere.
Yeah, well, I do back up. I do all my work in OneDrive. I'm a Microsoft PC person. I do all my work in OneDrive. I have very little on my C drive, but and then I do flash drive backups at this point. When I get a program, a software program, I'll
Yeah,
I
Roots
would
Magic,
do it. I would do-
Magic is nice because if you can put it on a laptop, they have a real easy way to transfer your information from your computer to like your laptop. So if you're taking a laptop, to in post-COVID days to the library or something, you can just take a stick and copy your data from your home computer to the laptop real easily and back and forth.
mhm.
And that's
And
really
also,
nice.
you should, following the same Dick Eastman, he says that you should have your backup, your information, you have your original copy, okay, at your desk, and then you have a copy you set on a
Flash drive.
stick, okay? He would also say you should put it on a external hard drive and put that external hard drive in a safe deposit box and swap them out every month.
Right,
So
but
you'd
the
have two of them.
problem,
And
well,
also
the
save it to
problem
the
with
cloud.
that a little bit
Because
is that I work in OneDrive, and an external hard drive only copies your C disk. It doesn't copy the cloud.
no, you can set, well, you wouldn't, no. You don't copy the cloud. The cloud would copy your files. So you would have two copies that automatically come, one on the OneDrive and one on the cloud. Okay? The idea is to have, even Nathan, what's his name? Draper?
Draper.
Draper, is that his last name?
Yeah, I know,
Rager?
Nathan.
He has a 3-2-1 program
Right,
that he says for backing up.
Right.
And in today's world, you just have to do that,
Yeah, I would get an
And you gotta
external
have
hard
something.
drive.
And
what's
I would get an
that?
external hard drive to
Yeah,
back up your
You gotta
entire
have
computer.
cloud because everybody's going that way.
I do have an external hard drive,
Yeah.
and I will periodically, do backup on the hard drive, everything,
Right.
have it do everything.
and then
All I'm saying to you is all I'm saying
The
to you,
recommended thing is to do it, stay on the first of the month, back up everything to the cloud, back up everything. Yeah.
right,
Yeah, see, Apple does it all day long, just does it constantly.
we're losing
Mine
you,
backs
Tom.
up all the time. And the cloud has multiple backups too. By the way, the cloud does have
But
a redundancy within the cloud
Right.
too. So,
well,
that
that's what I'm considering that as one of my backups. But all I'm saying to you is I do not enter stuff
We
on my
lost him.
files on my C drive. When I work, I want to write something or bring, up my program or bring up something. I go right to my OneDrive. I have very little on my C drive. So I do have an external backup or an external drive, but that only will copy your C drive. It doesn't copy what you have in the cloud, and everything I have is in the cloud.
You should be okay then.
well, the only
That's what
way,
I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're okay then.
you're okay then.
Okay, so back to my program guys. You're thinking maybe Roots Magic only because so many of you have it and you can help me?
Yes, that's a good reason.
Well,
real good
I was down to 2 and I got to start somewhere and learn something. So I might as well figure it out.
Just
Right.
start with putting yourself in and put your
Right,
parents in, put your
Yeah.
parents in, and then just
right. But I do want to be assured, and I know you can tell it, at this point in time, I want to work offline. I do not want to go online.
No, that's fine. That's
And- So I can easily tell Roots Magic this is all private.
Well, they don't, you're not online.
They do tree share, don't they? They don't do syncing.
But
No,
you
they
have,
don't. No, they give you hints that, you know, if you click on it, then you can go see what the hint is for that person, but they don't come to you. I mean, they don't take your data.
Okay,
let you tell them, let you agree to put it out there. Otherwise, it stays on your C drive. In this case, it would be on your C drive.
that's fine. I can,
And then you could copy it up to your
Right,
OneDrive
right,
or whatever you want. Yeah.
right. It's just I can pretty much be assured that if I tell it to remain private, it will. That's what I want to do. Right now, I want to keep my tree private. I'll
Yep.
think about sharing it, putting it out there later.
Right.
Okay. All right.
And I'll add one thing quickly.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I did a class on
Sure.
digital preservation because I got a grant because of our newspaper archives, which is a huge amount of data. And they do, not only do you want to save it in 3 locations, you want to run a checksum or some sort of program to make sure the data is not corrupted. And one that's free that you might look into is called Fixity. Fixity. But like with the newspaper archives on Rescarta, they have a built-in program called Checksum that does the same thing. So it's something to think about ultimately down the road. They also said portable hard drives for the very, if you're doing something on that level, you can only expect them to last 5 years.
Mhm.
So there's a lot to think about.
Yeah,
But for home things, I don't think you have to be quite as strict.
but thumb drive's the same thing. They are basically
Thumb drives are not acceptable because they can break too easily.
right.
And you can lose them too easily too.
Yeah,
Thumb
that's true.
drives, you
They
can
do get,
misplace
they
them
do
so
get
easily.
corrupted very quickly. They can
Yeah,
get
yeah,
corrupted
yeah.
too. So
So that's just something I wanted to add. Should we go on to
Good
the
point.
next person?
Yes.
Sure, good point.
Someone else want to tell about
Sure.
their research? Okay.
My husband and I are downsizing our storage unit, which means going through lots of paperwork from his family and my family. And in the process, just yesterday, going through some of it, discovered a family, not really a family tree, but some member of his family had made a list of people, and it goes back all the way to 1640.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I haven't had a chance to do anything with it yet, but we've been always wondering, well, who was the person from England who came over and when did they do it? And we may have the information.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so
Break your
that's,
brick wall.
yeah, well, it hadn't gotten that far, but yeah. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Also, in a previous meeting, I think it was probably an actual meeting, I had talked about somebody else in his family that supposedly, according to the will, had a 3rd wife that we haven't been able to track down anywhere. Well, it turns out that I may have been spelling her name wrong, and that may have been part of the problem. So I'm going to research that some more and see if we can come up with something better. So it always keeps going.
Yeah. Nice. Someone else want to mention anything?
Well, I've been busy. I sent away a couple of, like a month and a half ago to Shawano County and their historical society, and they sent me a big old envelope of a bunch of obituaries that I was looking for. Some are in German, so I'm going to have to use, I think Google Translate would probably be my best bet. What do you guys think?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's a good
And
start.
then, but it's helping me immensely, determining, who the family members are and if I'm traveling down the right tree or up the right tree. So that's been fun. I've also been in contact. I was able to with going into through lines on ancestry.com, I found a lady who had my 5th great grandparents in her tree as well, and we share DNA.
There you go.
So,
Neat.
so I reached out to her and we had a nice conversation last Friday night. And it just goes to show you that if somebody, does have these ancestors that go way, way back, every once in a while, you'll know that it is indeed the right tree that you're climbing. So that was exciting because she comes from an entirely different line, and way, way, way up. Then that's when we had the same grandparents. So that was exciting. I also was able to, I have, the hits, the Frank and, or not Frank, but and Elizabeth, who are buried at the Claybank Cemetery there. I was able to, by going into Ancestry and messaging somebody who uploaded these portraits 10 years ago. So I didn't know if they were even, still active on Ancestry, but I reached out to them, asked them where these original portraits were from. She said they were in her husband's studio, which is in McGuanago, about an hour's drive for me. So I contacted him and he let me borrow them.
Nice.
And they're huge. They're like 3 feet tall. And they're before the days of photography, because they're charcoal drawings of them. And he let me borrow them, and I'm having them digitally restored. The exciting thing about that is my archivist is in Kenosha that I like using. Thankfully, I went up to Anago, which is where my last remaining great aunt lives, and she's 90 years old, to share with her a picture of her great grandparents, just so she could, more than just getting a digital, it would just to touch them and see them. And thankfully I did that, because then that's when the Kenosha riots happened, and my archivist's studio was damaged.
Oh dear.
So I would have just been, I can't even imagine. It would have just been a punch in the gut if they were my own, but seeing as how I borrowed them, I would have just been wrecked if they would have been destroyed. So I called the Milwaukee Historical Society. They gave me another lead for an archivist. So they are there now in a safe place, I hope. So that was exciting. And then also what I've been working on is, I'm wondering, now Chauncey's son was Frank Hitt, who lived up in Door County. Frank and Louisa lived in Door County. They died in 31 and 41. How can I get a copy of their wills? Because their probate notices were in the Door County Advocate. Any ideas of how I get a copy of them?
They should be in the Sturgeon Bay in the courthouse, I would think, wouldn't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, Register of Deeds office.
Register of Deeds, yeah.
Would anybody be willing to go there for me, seeing as how I'm in Racine County?
Aren't they at the Justice Center, or am I wrong? I know someone who goes over there, and I think they have some of this stuff on microfilm, and they hardly let you use it because the machinery is so old.
I thought the Register of Deeds was on Nebraska.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
It's-
but the probate clerk is in the Justice Center.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah, that's still Jennifer Miller. I'm not sure.
I don't even know if they
Yeah.
let you in there right now.
They will.
Well,
I don't think so.
As
I
I
don't
say, they
Neighbor of
don't
ours
let
works
you
at the
use the
jail, and
machinery
nobody's
much,
going in
even
and out
though,
of there.
yeah, they're supposed to let you use it, but they don't like it because the machinery is so old. That's
Well,
what
would
I've
they do it
heard.
remote? If she called, would they
I don't know.
copy
You'd have to-
anything? You could try.
That
Yeah.
might be your best bet, given the circumstances.
Some of the
Okay.
probate records are on Family Search, but I don't think Door County is yet. I know Fond du Lac
Oh.
is.
I
I
know.
found things from Fond du Lac, but not all of the
So
counties are
who is
there.
it that I would contact?
Who has the name?
Wait a minute, let me get my directory.
Okay, thank you. And then, all right, so, and Mary Ellen opened the door for questions on, I don't know if this is a stupid question or not. So I have Family Tree Maker, which obviously none of you are using right now.
I
But-
use Family Tree Maker.
Okay, good.
I think Dave does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, so here's a question. I primarily use, Ancestry. Well, I use Ancestry.com for everything, and then I back it up with Family Tree Maker. Why would I use Family Tree Maker instead of using Ancestry?
Oh, they go together.
I
They're two
know,
different
but
things.
I just I don't understand why wouldn't I just keep using Ancestry? Because some people
They're-
are like, they just
They're
use,
two different things in a way.
Yeah.
The Family Tree Maker is a standalone program like Roots Magic that you put on your own personal computer.
right,
Ancestry is an online tree that's typically available for all the members to
Unless you make it private.
copy, do whatever.
but
And it will also, your Family Tree Maker will link you to Ancestry.com to do
right.
research.
it does. But
they're
I
kind of
put,
two different-
I put in like all my comments and my notes. I'll put
Right.
that into that Ancestry section in.
What happens when you're no longer a member of Ancestry?
You can still
Right.
see your tree.
You can see it, but you're kind of limited on what you can do. So it's
And if
usually
I've
better
got
to,
it backed up onto Family Tree Maker.
right, it's usually better to have a Family
Oh.
Tree Maker and then upload that to Ancestry
Yes.
rather than do all your work on Ancestry and try to download it back into your computer.
Does Family Tree Maker have hints and stuff?
Yes.
They get, if they'll hint through, I think they even do it through the Utah and everybody else, all the, the different search organizations out there. You can have that stuff, but Family Tree Maker is the program that goes on your computer.
Right.
That's the one that's
Are they
permanent
going
to
to
you.
have different hints than Ancestry has?
Family
Yeah.
Tree Maker uses hints from Family Search and
Family
also
Search has them.
Ancestry. But with Ancestry, you have to have a tree on Ancestry in order to do it. I don't have a tree on Ancestry, so I don't get Ancestry hints. I only get Family Search hints.
Because they don't know about it.
Correct.
How are they giving you these hints? So you're online this whole entire time that you're in that program then, and they're retrieving the hints from Family Search?
Yes, you have to sign in with your login information to Family Search,
Okay.
and then you'll see hints. And the hints are, it's not as good as it used to be, in my opinion, because the hints are other family trees that people have on Family
Right.
Search.
Yeah.
Before the recent version, before Family Tree got bought by McKeeve, then Ancestry hints I thought were very good. You got hints from the actual data that was out there, the records.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is now because I don't have a tree on Ancestry. So
Well-
kind of to go back to your sort of original question, I've been using Family Tree Maker for years. And it was before you could put trees, well, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say this. I thought it was before you could actually put trees on Ancestry. So I've just kept using it. I've customized some things. You can customize note fields, which I've done. You can keep notes and all kinds of things. I don't know that you can do those things on Ancestry. And I like to have my data where I know what it is. So that's why, and it could be Roots Magic or any program would be fine, but I just happen to use Family Tree Maker.
One other thing that I have found in, I used to use Family Tree Maker years ago, and I've gone to Roots Magic after they sold to McKeeve because I didn't kind of like where they were headed. And it's just a personal thing. But one of the things I found that when I transferred the data, my sources always said Ancestry.com. It
Oh.
blocks the source.
Oh,
Well, if I went back to Ancestry.com, I could work my way back through it, but then they'd say, oh, you got to be a member and sign up and pay us X dollars to retrieve it. And that kind of
Well,
frustrated me.
Can I say something quickly about Ancestry.com? I've made a whole bunch of trees when I'm researching not my family, but just people in local history. I make trees, and for free you can create trees and you can upload documents. If you have an account you're paying for, you can link to documents, but when you stop paying, you won't be able to see those documents.
Right.
However, if you download them and upload them, you will. So it's all about, you know, how they're working it. So,
And that's kind of what I didn't do, but I have thousands of these things. And if I had to go in do each
That's,
and every one of them separately, it got to be a nightmare. And that's one of the things I'm doing now is trying to clean up all that stuff.
yeah. And also I know people who will subscribe to Ancestry for a month and then quit and then go back for a month. One thing that drives me crazy about My Heritage is they only let you do it for a whole year. So you can't sign up. They'll say X amount per month, but then when you sign up, it has to be for a full year. So I've never done that, but
Most of the information's on families. A lot of it's on Family Search too.
yeah,
It's
it's
a matter
just
of
for
how-
the DNA.
Oh, for the DNA, no, but
My Heritage has a lot more Europeans than
Yes, it does.
Ancestry. So that's the advantage to it.
Well,
But-
and if you keep your software, I mean, I have my Roots Magic on my home computer. I have complete control over there. I put all
Right.
kinds of information there that I do not want to share with the world. And so what I did with Ancestry is I composed my tree on Ancestry starting from scratch, and I just put on there what I want to, you know, the people that
Exactly. Yeah.
and I don't put a lot of extra cousins and families and, you know, to 5 generations and all of that kind of thing. Whereas on my Roots Magic, that's where I've got my big files, and they are my private files because they're on my on my desktop computer.
Yeah.
So it's a control. It's a real control thing because you don't know what Ancestry is going to do, or
Right.
be bought out by somebody else and they're going to change the policies and of course I always have to keep paying the subscription every year, which I do because I use it a lot.
yeah. I use it a lot too. I mean, it is well worth it.
It is.
All right. And so, Mary Ellen, did you get a phone number?
Yeah.
Or something?
I was looking for the emails, but I don't have that, but you can get it by calling them. The register in probate, that's Jennifer Miller, Moeller. And the office phone is 920-746-2482. Now I don't really know quite where they store the probate, whether it's there or the register of deeds, but you can ask.
Yeah.
And then they can give you her email if you want to then follow up. And the other one is the register of deeds. Her name is Carey, Carey, Peter Silka, Petersilka. And 920-746-2270.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Karen,
so they can send you.
Karen, if you need somebody to go over there and pick something up, just let me know.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
yeah, well,
Yeah, you got my email address. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
Just let me know. I can run over there. It's not that far. I could almost walk. Tell you the truth.
It'd take a long time for me to watch.
Yeah.
And then the other
I'm not going to walk, but I could.
The other big exciting thing, one more thing that we found out is through using DNA, I was able to, I think, Laura, I told you I was going to get Dick Hitt's DNA, and then I got, in the same generation, my aunt Lorraine, so they are, you know, descended from Chauncey Hitt up there, and we were able to rule out Dick's side of the family, and evidently my second great grandfather Frank had an illegitimate child before he was married, and she was adopted out of the family, never knew who her parents were, and now through DNA we were able to determine who the father was. And so now I have some new cousins
Wow.
and
Great.
phone chats, and it's just been wonderful. And I was able to help them out because they're way out west in Oregon. And so I, did a bunch of driving around and, getting DNA samples from people. And by doing so, we were able to solve this 150-year-old mystery.
Wonderful.
Wow, congratulations
Pretty
on
neat.
that. Yeah, that is neat.
I'm trying to figure out how to get the glare off of my glasses, but that's not working.
Not easy.
Same thing. You know, I mean, tilt the screen back. Tilt
Well,
the screen
I
back.
thought I did, but then you,
There you go.
oh,
There you go.
that's not
Oh,
my best look.
right there. Can't do anything with that.
Yeah, I fixed my hair
Not
for
my
this.
best look either. with my double chin.
I know.
With my nice
One
double
other
and triple
resource
chin
that
here.
One other resource that some of you may or may not be fully aware of is the American Ancestors, the New England
Oh, yeah.
Genealogy Society.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And if
very
you
good.
have, a lot of people had their relative site or area came in through Massachusetts and that. Their
Yeah.
records are unbelievable, the type of things that you get from some of the old
Who is
meeting hall
because I'm trying
notes.
to track down a relative. Well, it's actually Elizabeth. She's buried in the Claybank Cemetery. She died in 94, was born in 1814 in Baltimore. I cannot find her parents.
Wait, I have family in Baltimore. What's the name?
Her last name was Walter. Maiden name Walter.
First name?
Elizabeth Francis.
And you have kind of date of birth or something, or?
June 2nd, 1814, died November 19th, 1894 in Door County,
Born in Maryland?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, June 2nd, 1814, and what was death date again?
November 19th, 1894.
Okay. November 19th. All right, I'll see. I belong to a lot of Baltimore or Maryland and Baltimore and whatnot, so I'll see what I can find there,
Okay.
maybe.
So, and Steve, what was this source that you were talking about?
Yeah, it's the New England Historical Genealogical Society, NEH, American, and you subscribe to it like you do for Ancestry.com, and they have billions and billions of records like everybody else. But their real focus has been pretty much on the New England area, Canada, Quebec, Montreal area. And
They have
my
some in
wife-
New York too.
New York, that whole area up there. My wife has a lot of family that came in through that way and migrated, came in down the St. Lawrence through Quebec and down to Detroit. And it's been a great resource for finding some information. And you get records back to the 1700s from their meetings that were held in the
Yep.
local churches when they first were here.
So then it's called New England Historical Society?
Yeah, New England
Correct.
Historical Genealogical Society.
Genealogical.
Okay.
And
They're
you
the
can do all
biggies.
sorts of, they got lots of searches. They have a lot of immigration records. I have found that to be a pretty, I just subscribed to it this year because of COVID. I said, well, I'm going to try something different.
Okay.
By October, November, I'll start getting into it and a little deeper to go back. And
I would think they would have tons of Baltimore, Maryland records.
I was just
New England more.
more ain't New England. I was just going to do a quick search here on your, what is it, Elizabeth Walter, you said?
Yes.
See anything?
Isn't that an actress?
Karen, if I get information, does Laura have your email or something?
Yes.
Yes.
All right,
And so does Tom.
okay.
Yes, I do.
And while he's looking, I just want to say we're getting up towards an hour, and I think we should keep it to about an hour. But
Yeah.
Tom wanted to talk about Facebook groups, but maybe we could focus on that next month, next
That would
time
do it next
meeting.
time.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
That's good.
everyone
Fine.
could bring in your favorite Facebook groups. As I said earlier, I posted a link to a 400-page PDF file of Facebook groups. If anyone wants to have a look at it, it's on the calendar genealogy page that you sign in on. Also, I'd like to mention that I've been trying to look ahead. I have to schedule things for the library ahead. And could we agree, if we're going to keep meeting, to doing it on the first and third Thursday of the month?
Sure.
Because some of the months coming up have 3 Thursdays, and I have other conflicts, so I'd really like to keep it to the first and third Thursday.
That sounds good.
That's fine.
So
Would
next
be-
month, it would be October 1st and October 15th.
Right.
Sound good? And also, I mentioned earlier that Tom Ramstack wrote a book on southeastern Wisconsin immigrants, and he's agreed to do a program in October, so check our calendar. It's going to be a fairly long program, but it's all about how they immigrated, the paths they came, and some of the people who settled in the Milwaukee area.
Hey, Laura, is that, how's his last name spelled? Ramstack?
Let me show you again how to find it on the calendar.
That's my last name, folks. That's my
Ramstack?
married last name.
Ramstack?
Yep.
R-A-M-S-T-A-C-K.
Maybe you're related.
Well,
So
I'm
here-
wondering.
Yeah, so here's our DoorCountyLibrary.org. You go to the calendar. There's our genealogy. This is the page where I put the, I already put up the link of Facebook groups, which we'll talk about next meeting. It's
Okay.
400 pages. Tom's going to tell us his favorite, but everyone is welcome to bring in some that you like. I have a couple I really like. And then in October, I haven't made, I've created the meetings already for the 1st and the 15th, but Tom Ramstack I haven't filled this out yet, but I have him coming on October 14th, 2 to 4 is what he asked for.
Yeah, that's the same spelling.
Well, there you go. He has a really neat book that we got for the library. So
That
when I
is
return
amazing.
it, yeah.
There aren't, well, I'll tell you, the Ramstack, which was my late husband, they came, 4 brothers came and settled in Elm Grove, Wisconsin, Waukesha County, right outside
And
there.
that's
So
pretty much
I'm
where he
wondering
is.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of a relation. Oh,
He's
wow.
related to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not a very common name. You probably are.
through marriage. I'm wondering. Huh,
Yeah.
that'll be fun.
So that'll be in October, something to look forward to. Do you have something to add, Tom?
No, that sounds good.
One other thing I want to mention, I created a Facebook group called Door County Library Local History and Genealogy.
Okay.
And I haven't really posted anything there, but we wanted to combine this genealogy research and our archives, which the library is organizing right now. So I have to get going on it, but I'm thinking to use that group to post some of the things we talked about today, such as maybe a link to the New England Historical Genealogical Group Society, maybe Evernote, Dick Eastman's blog, anything else. And then we'll have a place we can go for backup information. Does that sound useful?
Good. Sounds great.
I'll try to get that organized a little. I just created it and I haven't done anything, but I'll try to send that to Tom and he can send it out to everybody in email.
Okay.
So that's where I stand.
Tom, you don't have my email though. Or how do you?
Why
how
don't
do
you? Why don't you send it to me and then I'll add it. We can add it to the list.
Okay, give me your email, Laura, would you?
Well, it's LKAYACAN@doorcountylibrary.org.
Oh, all right, that one. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I just give you our list.
Sorry? We're not hearing you, Tom.
We see you, but we can't hear you.
Can I do sign language? I think
Oh,
no, I can't. Well, I'll talk to you later, Laura, about that. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can
So-
hear everybody else.
I can
Yeah,
hear
you were
you now.
fine till just
Hear you
now.
now.
Okay, all right, Laura, would it be easier for you rather, if I just send the list to you and then you would have control over it, or do you want me to still be the
Either way,
whatever?
if you want to send it to me, I think I could actually find the addresses. I just don't want to necessarily post it on
Okay.
line.
Sure.
So,
Well, no, you don't want that. We don't want phone numbers and all that online because
right.
we get enough random calls. So
Exactly.
we didn't ask any, I missed it. Did Dave and Gretchen have something to say?
Oh,
Did I miss it?
I haven't been doing I really haven't been doing very much. So no big report.
Okay.
The only thing I had was I still get a call once in a while, which I think is a good thing, where someone is called into the library and the library has given them my number. So I was able to help a guy. His real thing he was trying to do was get a European Union passport.
Ah,
And so he needed documentation on his grandfather who was born in what was a European Union country. And so ultimately I was able to get him information where he ended up writing to the Winnebago courthouse for his
Nice.
naturalization paperwork. So that was kind of neat. So even though we're not in the library, there's still some help going on.
And that's the Sister Bay branch you're talking about.
Sister Bay, yes.
yep,
The ladies there do a phenomenal job.
yep, they do.
Nice.
Beans on top of it. Yeah.
Well, I had a
I
question. I had a reference question this week about a young baby that lived 1 month and was born and died in 1983. And the person wanted to know the parents, and to tell you the truth, that's too recent and you really can't find a lot of documentation the way you could, in the past, because the records are all,
Privacy.
for privacy reasons. So I was able to sort of look at the 1983 phone book and see who was in the area. And, we could speculate on the parents, but it's really tricky when you have someone too new.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say.
The other thing you could try would be newspapers.
Yeah, the newspapers, and there was no obituary.
Okay.
Too bad we didn't have the old city directory still being published all the time.
Yeah, we do. I did have them here for 1983.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause that's a great source of information.
Yeah, so I was able to list the family in that area, but that, it doesn't necessarily prove anything. But also, find a grave had the gravestone next to certain people, so you can sort of speculate. There was no clear record. And the newspapers in those days did post hospital visits, so.
Yes, they did.
They
Yeah.
don't do that even anymore.
No.
So anyway, that was interesting. That's all I have to say. Anyone else want to say something?
Just one quick thing for those of you from up in Sister Bay. I have given Michael Farmer, the information for these meetings. And so far, he's not chosen to sign on. He said today he was going to his hometown and search cemeteries today. So,
Well, maybe
at least he knows about our meeting.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, maybe he'll join us one of these days. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming.
Okay.
Super researcher.
Yep.
Those are always helpful. All right, thank you very much.
Sure.
All right.
Thank
See
you.
See you in
Bye now.
October.
Bye.
Bye.